So as we look at ourselves, we look at what we want to do. People say, I want to make a difference. They poll several people over age 95 and ask them, if you had your life to live over again, what would you do differently? Here's what they said. The majority of them said, I would spend more time reflecting, just thinking about my life and thinking about what is it I want, thinking about what is it that gives my life a sense of value. See, as you look at your life, that what we have to do is start thinking. That most of us are going on automatic. We don't think as often as we should. We do things unconsciously. And that if you have goals that you want to achieve, there are things that you want to do, you want to make a difference in your life, you've got to now start reflecting. Here's something else the other people said. These people who reach age 90 and above. They said they would take more risk. They would go outside of their comfort zone. They'll take more chances. They'll do some things that used to intimidate them, things that they found challenging, things different. They would live a life of adventure. See, a lot of people are not living up to their true potential because a lot of people go through life playing it safe, holding back on themselves. See, here's what I discovered. There's no safe position in life. Did you know that? There's no safe position in life. You can't get out of life alive. You're going to die anyhow. Don't die for nothing. But most people, ladies and gentlemen, earn a living, raise a family, and then they die. There are people who are just breathing corpses. Person said that many people die at age 21 and don't get buried until they're 65. These are people that when they die, because their lack of contribution was so minuscule, their contribution was so minuscule, no one will miss them. They could be dead 6 or 7 weeks. What happened to John? Didn't you know? No, John's dead. Didn't make much difference. He didn't make much impact. But when a Mother Teresa dies, because of the impact that she has made with her life, people will hear and people will respond. People will miss her. She will leave a void. When you're living a life of contribution, when you're taking some risk, when you're deciding not to go through life following the crowd. Here's the other thing that they said. That not only will they reflect more and take risk, but they said that they would leave something that will live on after they're dead. They want to leave a legacy. They want to make a contribution to life. That's where I am, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I'm here. I want to make a difference in life. I want to be to many of the young people that I saw out in the hall, or many of the young people that I saw last night when I was at Spelman College to see one of my daughters sing in the choir. I want to be to them what a teacher named Mr. Leroy Washington was to me when I was in special education, when I was identified as being educable, mentally retarded, and failed twice in school. And this man looked at me one day, and I was telling him why I could not do what he wanted me to do. He was a substitute teacher. He did not know that I was in special education, and he asked me to go up to the board to perform a task. Most of the teachers who knew me would never ask me. They knew I was dumb. They knew I did not know. They knew when I would sit in class and I would look embarrassed and try and look invisible when they were calling for kids to go up to the board to do something. They knew not to call on me. They knew that I would never raise my hand and say, look, I think I've got an answer here. They knew I wasn't going to do that because I didn't believe I had anything to contribute. See, I thought I was dumb. And so they thought I was dumb, and we had an agreement that I was dumb. No one rises to low expectations. They didn't expect much of me, and I didn't expect much of myself. But this teacher, he didn't know my history of being looked upon as DT, the dumb twin. My brother was smart. Because he did not know my history, when I said to him, and I tried to sell it to him, look, I can't do what you're asking me to do. Why? Sir, I'm not one of your students. It doesn't matter. Work the problem out, young man. I can't do what you're asking me to do, sir. Why? And the students were laughing. They're cracking up. Say, they don't know. This is Mr. Kadumbo up in here. I'm educable, mentally retarded, sir. And he looked at me with bewilderment, as if to say, what are you talking about? He walked at me, he said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. Who told you these things about yourself? And more importantly, you don't have to accept that. You don't have to buy into that. This man's vision of me, this man, to look in his eyes as he looked at me like, I dare you tell me what I see before me is educable, mentally retarded. I dare you represent yourself that way to me. I don't accept that. I don't buy that from you. And even though I was humiliated, as the kids laughed at me, and I took my seat. But as he continued to talk, when I left that room and I started walking across that campus, his thoughts rung in my head that I don't have to buy this. I remember the look in his eyes. He looked at me in the eyes of Goethe, who said, look at a man the way that he is, he only becomes worse. But look at him as if he were what he could be, then he becomes what he should be. And so the relationship that we developed helped me to see myself differently. That's the value, ladies and gentlemen, of this programming. This man engaged me in a process. And the first process that he engaged me in was responsibility. Mr. Brown, yes, sir, you want to be successful in life? Yes, sir. This is a usable world, young man. But if you don't use it in the right way, it's a cruel world. Take responsibility for your life, young man. Don't go through life being a victim. Dennis Whaley said in his first book about a winning attitude, he said, losers let things happen. Winners make things happen.